Hi everyone, this is Eero here, and in today's video I'll be talking about like how did I develop my core. And I'm not just talking about like looks that you have like a visible six-pack, but also like how did I build it so that it's also strong and it's functional and useful. Like in fitness, for like six-pack is something that is kind of like everybody wants to have it. Everybody is like looking for that routine, that quick routine to get them that lean core. And it's also usually it's a very shallow approach to kind of training the abdominals, the whole core area, and most and often it's like the thing what the abdominals and great core really represent usually, it's that also you have a great performance. You are strong and you're capable, and they also kind of tell more about your general like life story or how you eat, what kind of diet do you have. So the reason why I think that these apps are so popular is because of what they really represent behind the abdominals. But people only kind of see the surface thing, and they just want to have the aesthetic thing without the actual thing, which is the good function, which is the performance, which is the health, a healthy body. The performance and the aesthetics is the exact same thing. Think about, for example, athletes. I think many like athletes probably have the best developed core out of any people out there. They are not focusing on getting a six-pack. All they do is they care about that they perform better in their sport. So they focus on the function, they focus on the quality of the training, and then as a result of that they have these incredible abdominals. And in a way the same thing goes about diet as well. There's people who kind of try to diet down, they really try to make themselves like suffer by not eating well, restricting a lot of themselves regarding the eating, and they still might not never get really abdominals. The focus in eating as well is just to get healthy, to feel good and to look good. My own journey with the diet started very early. I think I was around 17 years old, so I'm now 26 years old. But it started very early, and I wasn't really trying to get lean. I wasn't trying to get like a visible six-pack back then. I was very concerned about my skin, which just had a lot of troubles in it, and I was kind of it bothered me so much that at some point I just made like a connection that what I eat probably has a lot to do like also my skin health and how my skin appears. So this really got me into like searching out like what is a good way, what is a healthy way to eat, and what should I put in my mouth and what not. So the first thing that I obviously did was because I didn't know what to do, so I just kind of searched information around me, Googled it, and I started to like follow general recommendations on diet and what to eat and what not. So this continued very, very long time, and I always made changes. I experimented with different ways of eating, and I was like a very much like gluten-free at one point, and then I was like on a very, very low carb diet, for example, as well, and kind of like a paleo style. So I always had that, like, was pursuing to find like a healthy way to sort of eat, but I was looking a lot from the outside, and I was focusing on the appearance of, for example, I was focusing on the skin. I was very fixated about it. I was like obsessed that I must eat in a certain way. I must control my eating to get a better skin. So it really took a long time until I started to like see the bigger picture. So I was so focused on just the certain ingredients in my food, how they affect me, and I wasn't really able to see like the bigger picture, that not just the food, it's also like, you know, better hygiene, and most importantly, like the biggest realization like was that the listening to the body, because I was like avoiding this stuff and such, not really based on so much listening to myself, but more like from what I thought was healthy, what I thought was not good. And I used to like eat food even if I didn't really want to eat it. I just ate it because I think that maybe it's good. But the reason I started to question this approach was then later on, as I started to see that I still have this like skin issues quite a lot every now and then, and I started to kind of notice that I am not actually really in control. I was trying to control them through that eating, but I noticed that I don't really have that much control over it. So I started to like see these dots also between like just what is in general going on in my life and through there, like, I just transformed my eating into more something where I listen to my body and feel good. I focus on feeling good, focus on eating stuff that makes me feel good, and not being so like blind about these things. But the main point here was that I was always, no matter what the diet really was, I was pursuing to be healthy. I was pursuing to eat in a good manner, not to eat too much and such. And this also helped me to stay lean. And that leanness matters when you want to have visible abdominals, because you can train your abdominals a lot, but if you have a lot of fat, obviously they're not going to show at all. The eating doesn't just really change your fat percentage. It kind of affects in almost like your whole body in a sense. In many ways, like also your recovery, your ability to recover from the training, your ability to build the muscle that you're trying to get in the abdominals, for example. Now I'm going to talk about training the abdominals, how I train my abdominals in a way in the start. And for example, the funny thing, there was one comment in a video of mine which was like for a six-pack routine. Somebody said something like your abs look like you were trying to get a six-pack, and it's like an unnatural look, and it doesn't look very good. Like, the comment is okay, like, I don't really care, but the funny thing about this comment was that I wasn't trying to get a six-pack. Like, I never was really trying to do that. In the start, the way I developed my abdominals, for the great part, the one reason was what I already explained. I was trying to eat in a healthy manner. But the other came from doing movement training. I only later realized how much the movement training shaped my abdominals, how much it really brought the definition all around the core into my obliques, lower, upper abdominals. I didn't understand this when I was doing it, because like I said, I was really focused on getting a great looking core. I was just focusing on the movement. I loved the movement training, and I wanted to get good at that, so I was kind of focusing on that performance. But later on, I was like, okay, I have very well developed abdominals. I have a good core muscles, and I haven't done isolation training really, or trying to specifically train my core, but I had done a lot of training. I had done a lot of movement training. Like I said, the martial arts, the calisthenics actually also had a big impact, because if you just do a pull-up and use your abs, it's a very good way to train the abs as well. But the reason why the movement training is so effective in training the core area is because basically that's what your core is designed to do. It's designed to support you in moving, whether it's like sports or doing more like martial arts, doing cartwheels. It doesn't matter what you're doing, but the movement training sets you in such kind of unexpected postures. You're going to be twisting your body, you could be rotating your core in many areas. You're going to need to stabilize your core also in these movements. You're going to be crunching your core. You're going to be using your core so much when you do movement training without even really thinking about it. If your core doesn't work, you can't really do the movement training properly. And in this case, for example, isolation exercises are very useful, but I'm going to talk about those in a second. So in essence, the movement training, it focuses on function. It focuses on performance, strength, control. And this is the thing that's behind the abdominals. So people focus on the abdominals, but they don't see the real thing. The real thing is the function, is the action. The performance and the looks are the exact same thing in my approach. So the biggest impact on the shape of my muscles, on the core, was the movement training. But then I started later to go and do more isolation exercises. I really started to experiment with a lot of isolation exercises for core, and they were really useful. The reason why this is because there's always going to be still weaker areas in there. That's just going to be it just happens. So using isolation exercise was really to fill out those weaker gaps in my muscles. For example, you've probably seen how much I do stability training now for my core. I just couldn't really with the movement, so train my abs, the stability of them in such a great manner. So this is why I do, for example, now a lot of stability training. There was also some weakness in the upper abdominals, which I trained with isolation. So it's really beneficial for just getting the core even further to the next level. And the other thing that is so useful as well is for those people who initially have so weak core that you can have really hard time doing, movement training, hard time doing calisthenics or some basic exercises because you have such a weak core. So in that case, you want to build it up first with the isolation exercises. So my main point in this video is to get those abdominals, to get the best possible core, to maximize your core. Don't focus on like that only that superficial thing, because that is not the real thing. Focus on being functional, being strong, being healthy, and that will kind of give you those results. This way you will not just get those abdominals, but you will have so much more. You will have so much more than just something that you can show around. Like you can actually perform, it helps you in everyday life. You know, you probably have much less pain in your back or something like that. There's so many benefits that you get from just focusing on a better lifestyle. You're gonna be healthier, you're gonna feel better, you're gonna have more energy, and so on and so on. Now regarding the abdominal, like the isolation training, different exercises for obliques, for abdominals, and routines. If you're interested in more of that, I do have a guide, like complete guides for abdominals and also for the diet, and it's called Abs 20XX. So it contains exercises, routines to train your core in a very balanced way. So it's not just the looks, but also the performance, strong, functional core. But it's also then obviously, because I know how important the diet is in having visible abs. So it contains all those, also those like my best diet tips, recipes, like just a ladder to progress and develop much healthier lifestyle. So this was the video, and I hope it cleared out kind of the thing, like how do you get that six pack. So it is a bit like contradictory, because like I said, you get much better results when you don't fixate on that six pack, but you focus more on the performance. You focus on feeling good, feeling great, focus on health. And I'll see you in the next video. Take care.